Streaming. Okay. Title page. There we go. Welcome back, everybody, to the Drawcast. I'm Rookzer0. It is February 10th. I needed water. All right. It's the free draw today. Huzzah, huzzah. You're correct. It is viewer suggestion today. Thank you, Druid. Friday free draw on Wednesday. That's the lie. It's Wednesday. It is the viewer suggestion today. My weeks are all kinds of screwed up. Yeah. I'm gonna start off today just drawing rugby because that's what I always do, and that's what I'm gonna start. I don't have paper. This is worrisome. I don't have paper to write stuff down on. People are gonna suggest things, and I'm gonna be like, don't remember. There we go. Let's get everything set up. Time is a meaningless construct. Yep. Sword Dancer Drow with 2 Kopeshes. Luke, welcome. Debbie, welcome. I almost just wrote on my tablet. That's not what I want. Sword Dancer. Ah! Alright. Where are you reading that? Is that what you want? Gotcha. Oh boy, my pen is not doing what I want it to do today. But that's why we do the warm up. What is happening here? That should be a little smaller, I think. Density, opacity. Maybe I'm just pushing too hard. It's pretty cold here today. My hand is kind of frozen. Probably need to warm up a little bit. Squirrel folk. Squirrel folk could be fun. Lincoln, thank you. No, today is the viewer suggestion. You're not the you're not the first person to say that. There we go. What day is it? There we go. Alright, Kenku. Stormbird. And then, how are you doing? I'm doing alright, Luke. I'm a little flubbled up with my days here, so. Lizard with Aztec Warhammers. Lizard folk. Squirrel folk. Get back down. All right. Let's see if we can get. What is up with this today? Something that just doesn't feel right. That's better. I think I might turn off my size. We're gonna go with that. Okay. How'd your stream go last night, Sierra? Did you get some cool stuff sketched up? Okay. I felt bad because I was trying to catch your stream, and then all of a sudden it was like 9 o'clock, and I was like, ah, crap! I totally missed it. But if it didn't happen, then that's fine. I didn't miss it. Ugh. We'd have to find somebody that wants to play a chocobo. Like, that's not going to happen. Did Doughboy ever actually get his chocobo? That's kind of how Final Fantasy went for me, too. Like, I played 14, and then I got my chocobo, and I colored it, and I made a million gil, and I was like, I'm done. And I just walked away. I forgot the game existed. Like, for 2 months, I just didn't play it, and I was like, shit, I haven't played Final Fantasy in a while. What do I do now? Not yet. Yeah, they've announced Moon Paladins for some reason. Man, yeah, I don't understand what's happening in that that trailer. That's the best I can describe it. They basically like, hey, you know those characters that everybody loves and or hates? They still exist. Also, Paladins on the Moon. And it's like, what? It's got a very like early 2000s anime music video vibe. Yeah, like the only thing that would have made it better, and by better I mean much worse, is if they had like put it to Linkin Park music. That would have made it just like perfect on point. Which is sad because like the animations are so beautiful. Like that game is just, oh, they do such a good job with making things look and feel Final Fantasy, and then their like cinematic department and storytelling department just like dropped the ball for me, at least. Like I just have no clue what's going on. So maybe if I like had been playing it, it would make more sense. But like did not sell anything to me. I'm so confused now. It's like, why is that guy on the moon? And the only reason I say Moon Paladins is because my friend who plays a lot was like, oh, well, there was the Dark Knights, and now it's Paladins. And I was like, that didn't answer my questions. That didn't answer any of my questions. And Dark Knights, I think. Why is that guy on the moon? Like the only time. Go watch the video, everybody. Yeah, Moon Knight, exactly. That's what I screamed in the Discord when they showed that. I was like, Moon Knight! But, go watch that trailer if you haven't watched it yet. Someone can post a link in the Discord of the new Final Fantasy 14 expansion. It looks really cool, but I just have no idea what's going on. No idea whatsoever. Oh no, like yeah, absolutely. My current Pathfinder game that I'm DMing. Well, I haven't DM'd it in like 3 months, but the last thing I did was send them all to the moon to fight the moon drow. Because there's a whole subsection of half demons on the moon in the Pathfinder universe. One of the moons. Either way. Anywho, super good. And that's not the part I have a problem with. I'm confused why there's a guy on the moon and what it had to do with anything else that was going on in that video. Have you seen the Warhammer 3 trailers? If so, what'd you think? I actually haven't seen the Warhammer 3 trailers. I saw the Gun Sister thing. But that's just a VR floof. Warhammer 3. Is that an RTS or is that going to be something different? Like real-time strategies? Okay. I guess I haven't seen the Total War games. That could be my problem. Because I have not played. I've played a lot more like Civ, a lot more StarCraft, and I always just kind of assumed they were very similar. That sounds more like Heroes. Is that kind of what it's like? Is it more Heroes based? Okay. Okay. Yeah, that sounds kind of like Heroes of Might and Magic style, where your base is really just you're generating your army and then you send your army out. Instead of like sending units out, you send an army. An army out. Oh boy, it's gonna be a weird one today. I'm back on my no caffeine kick, so we'll see how long that lasts. gonna see if that do. Triangle. Get the face triangle. Get the nose. Okay. I remember. Ah, jeez, threw him a pen. We're fine. It's really cold in my house right now for some reason. So I'm trying to warm up. No. I do not smell toast. All right, hold on a second. What was it? Like the other week, I was sitting in my sitting in my den, and I was like, I smell burning. Why do I smell burning? Am I having a heart attack? And then I ran into the kitchen, and I was like, oh yeah, I turned a pan on like an hour ago, and I forgot about it. Better, but not great. I don't usually do that. That's not as bad. I've been a little too busy lately. Okay. See, like Blizzard does a good job of storytelling, right? Like those are great. But they have a whole department. Like even the Hearthstone like cinematic stuff they've done has been really good. And then that's why I'm so like jarred by the Final Fantasy 14 trailers, because it's just like they look just as good. They look just as good. But they don't tell a story. It's just like it. Yeah, thank you, Corvus, for posting that. But like, oh man, I want them to be competitive, and I just don't feel like they are. It's just like, man, come on, guys, step up your game. I mean, I know it took you 3 tries to get the game out, but like, it's been 5 years. Like, get your stuff together. Diablo 4 looks super good. I'm excited for that. Well, I take that back. The trailer looked really good. I don't know what the game looks like yet. They had I'm excited that the Druid's coming back. I miss playing the werewolf and the werebear. It was super fun in old school Diablo. Mr. Loss, welcome. Drawing, so we're doing the viewer suggestion today, if you want something drawn. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, character journals. It's pretty cool. Okay. Well, if you want me to I can make a leather binding for it if you'd like. I definitely could. Encountered. Mm-hmm. I always thought it was funny. whenever you print off like a D&D character sheet, like a full character sheet, they give you like 3 or 4 pages for backstory, and my backstories are always like, I'm a mad dwarf. I hate everything. Backstory complete. I've always tried to make my characters like on the fly. I love your otter folk. Planning to add them to my campaign. Wes, that's awesome. I'm excited to hear that. The bear, hello, welcome. The bears. Monk could be really fun, yeah. Monks are fun. Random Pigeon, yes, there is a link to the Discord down below. We're just hanging out in the voice channel chat, so if you want to join in, you're welcome to. Sorry, go ahead. They added a few new things. Are you thinking Pathfinder or D&D? Yeah, the Dragon one is basically like we've been playing the Dragon Monk that way for a while, which is awesome. So I'm glad they added it like officially. Yeah, Pathfinder monks are super fun because there's the well, I always like playing the ninjas. I think the ninjas are really fun because they're like monk rogues. But there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with the Pathfinder monks. Yeah, the key powers are great. The D&D kind of like truncated them a lot, I feel like. But a lot of them also just kind of get fixed by the way that 5e deals with movement. Like movement is dealt differently, fall damage is dealt differently. So it's a lot more simplified than it would be. But like the unarmed grapple monks are really fun. Stunning Fist is way more powerful, but also kind of stepping towards broken in some aspects. Why did I make these ears so high? Yeah, 5e monks super strong. Super strong. I've done this backwards, and I don't know why I've done this. I've also gone for some weird like cyberpunk drow, which I'm not sure what's going on with that either. We'll find out. Yeah, I think I went a little too Final Fantasy because I was talking about it. Drows should have like really sharp cheekbones. Yep. I made the ears way too big. I do like giant drow ears. I'm gonna make them go up a little higher. Yeah, Night Elf ears are pretty good. I like the giant ears. Trolls, giant ears. Goblins, giant ears. Ears are just, ears are funny. Ears and noses, fun to draw. I'm going to go a little sharper on this nose, though. Reference. That's why reference is important. Yeah, that's true. Okay, now we're going to make this much bigger. All right, this is still the first picture, so I'm going to start over from here. This is still the warm-up. This is still the warm-up, so this totally counts. Don't worry, I'll get to the other ones. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. Yeah, the D&D monk is really fun. The healing one, I kind of like that idea, where you like use your key to heal people. I feel like it's going to be a little underwhelming comparatively, but only because clerics are just so damn efficient. Like, it's really hard to get away from the archetype of the cleric healer. So, because I would love to see like a warlock healer, like someone that has a pact to Really? Do you just Eldritch Blast people back to hell? Like, that would be awesome. But do you actually heal? Okay, cool. Okay, that's super cool. I'll have to look into that. Because I like that idea. I really like that idea. Blind people. I always thought that was really strange that like they kind of mixed this like light powers into just like blindness and deafness is one of the things that like clerics can cast in Pathfinder. It's just like, hey, you're blind now. It's like, ah, what happened? I was like, what? Like, such a weird spell. It's like if I can cure people's blindness, I can blind them. It's like, I guess so. Yeah, blinded by the light. Revved up like a deuce. Anyways. Yeah, no, super cool. Super fun stuff. I like that concept a lot for the monk. That they can kind of chi power their way. Key power. Is it different? Yeah, the Divine Soul Sorcerer, I see a lot. A lot of people have asked me to draw that. I've done a few commissions for it. Yeah, that's cool. I think that like fits the monk, like kind of the monk stereotype really well, or the monk archetype. Attack roll or something. I don't know. Play TNT. That's pretty good, Inferno. I dig that. Yeah, super good. Super good stuff. Monk looks super fun. Hadouken! 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 Yeah. I'd have to look up what you're talking about because I'm not sure. Gotcha. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Okay, I think this is going to be the sword dancer here. I'm going to give him like a long coat. See if I can make him a little more drow. Just really make his eyes pop. Yeah, Lars, let me know how big that those pages are, and I'll see if I can get you like a reusable leather cover, so you can put those in there. Yeah, give me the open, like, because I need to know how big the binding is, how thick the binding is. Is it rings? Does it connect the page with rings? Oh, it's a tiny, so it's like a pamphlet thing. Gotcha. Okay, well, I might just make you like a character portfolio then. That might be a better way to do it. Fancy. I have so much leather. Like, I bought way too much leather. For all of the people that bought the dice bags, I hope you enjoy them. I still enjoy mine. I'm still working on that, trying to make better ones. Yeah. Let's see what's going over here. Do this. Yeah. I'm just gonna do that. Fortunately, I don't think I'm going to do too much more detail on this. The other Khopesh is just going to be like way down here. We're going to kind of phase out that. And we'll go like this, get that back there because I like that. Get some cool strappings going on here. Maybe we'll give him like a waistcoat belt. Put some extra lines in there. Okay. Probably going to call that one there. It's still going. I like it. I like the lizard. Kenku Storm. I just wrote Kenku Stormbird. I don't know if that's actually... Discord acquired. Nice. Can you draw a Warforged Boxer? Yeah, we could draw a Warforged Boxer. Real... What? Real steel? What are you talking about? Oh, was it? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yep. Rock'em Sock'em Robots the movie. Was it? That's good. You know, I did not think I was going to like Alita Battle Angel, but I did. It turned out really good. Yeah. Like, this has got to suck. Yeah. I thought they did a good job of like introducing the world, which was kind of interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and I've definitely seen that happen before. So I think they did a good thing. I'm gonna try to make this lightning bird. Maybe we'll do some like big old feathers. Yeah. So of all the kind of like anthropomorphic creatures that are found readily in the TNT world, I think Kenkus are probably some of the weirder ones. It's like birds are just so unusual. Yeah, like anything kind of like mammalian can kind of work, like the Venara or like tabaxis, and even the lizard folk would be weird because they just like act weird, but like birds are just so not traditional with what, like, I don't know, I can't imagine a Kenku just bouncing around like so I kind of have to when I do draw a lot of my my anthropomorphic creatures, I try to think like how much person and how much bird do I put into this character. With Kenkus, it's almost always like lots of person and then bird face. Bri, thank you very much for the tip. Hello everyone, Bri says. That's good. That's a pretty good Kenku. Snake with a hat. Hello. Okay, let's see if we can. I love that giant like shoulder wrap, I guess. I don't know what else you would call that. Maybe that's an actual thing. Is it? Could be a mantle. I count it as a mantle, even though it's like one-sided. I guess, yeah, it's a kind of a sash, isn't it? We're going to go with sash. Just big old shoulder curve shirts. Shoulder shorts? That's not the thing. You know, shirts, but only go halfway down. You mean a t-shirt? No, it's like shorts. It's like a short shirt. It's a shirt, but only sleeves. Those exist. Those unfortunately exist. Wait, is it? Like one of these things? I always think of them like on like duelists. When they just have this. It's like arm chaps. That's what they have them for welding, like just leather arm chaps for welding. Yeah. Hey, man. It's tough. I mean, that's why. Yeah, yep. I mean, assless chaps exist for a reason. That's all I'm saying. But in shirt form. I mean, if you've ever cod pieces existed for a reason, and it's because trousers used to be single-legged things. I mean, yeah, like pants were. There's a reason you have a pair of pants, because this is a pant. You have a pair of them, and then a cod piece. And then all of a sudden someone was like, wait, what if we sew them together and make multiple sizes instead of it trying to fit every single person? And they're like, that's too much work. Yep. You know what? This is gonna be a tubby Kenku. There we go. And we'll give him like. Yep. Give him a big old belt. And then we'll just give him like lightning everywhere. Thunder. Oh, I was going a different direction. But I blame Danny Sexbank for that, so. Right? There's one. Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking. Not that exact person, but like that's where I was going with it. Let there be thunder and lightning. Okay, there's the storm Kenku. I like that one. That's pretty good. You're already working on the lizard folk, so I might move on to the squirrel folk. I might do a quick portrait. I'll do a quick portrait for yeah. I think people, yeah. People definitely come here to watch Jonas draw, I'm pretty sure. I just come here to cause trouble. That is not how lizard mouths work. Straight up. Yeah. So the original lizard folk in D&D was shoot, I can't remember what it's called, but it was basically a jungle setting, and they basically used all of this Aztec symbology for it. So like that was like the original iteration of it. I think that got pretty stuck. I think there is also some South American lizard men. I know, like, what's the other? Is it the jaguar men? There's mythical connotations with that too. Where jaguars, yeah. Central and South America, I think. But with that, watch the Baxi video. Watch the Lizard Folk video. I think I talked about all this stuff. I just can't remember it. You guys know that history is one of my dump stats. Also, like the Aztec have trying to think of what is it, the axolotl? No, the axolotl. That's not right. The coatls, Quetzalcoatl's, and that was like the flying snake, right? Yeah, the feathered serpent. So I think that's the other. I think that's the other part of it, because like all of the snake folk, same thing. Kind of like that direction. And I think the lizard folk were supposed to kind of be like, oh, it's a giant island of reptiles, which is what the book was. The original module was using. I mean, Gygax wasn't super original when it came to making stuff. So I'm sure there's his historical significance somewhere along the way. Something inspired him. All right, the bullet is literally just a plastic toy. So like, don't at me. Aren't the lizard folk from Greyhawk? I think so. Yeah, I think that's I think that's where we're going from. I should probably single out Greyhawk material from D&D, but like, they are basically the same thing. I've always considered Greyhawk basically just like proto D&D. And if you hate that thought, you know, that's fine. Let's talk about it, because I'm not. Yeah. Well, so Dragonlance was a story, right? Like, not a game module. Was it a game world first? Okay. See, I thought the Dragonlance settings were basically because of the books, and I could be wrong. That's something I've not looked into at all. So if someone knows, I would love to hear it. But I thought Greyhawk was basically like, hey, let's make a sweet game, and then Dragonlance like, oh, that's cool. Let's use that stuff too. Just like as much as they tried to use the Tolkien worlds to make all of it. I've made some kind of weird dragon monster, because this is not a nose that exists in nature for lizards. Yeah, it's getting a little weird. It does almost look dog-like. There we go. That's better. Lizard folks are dogs? Yeah, that's the question. Which came first, Dragonlance or Greyhawk? Could give him a big old feather. You know, I don't know if I ever saw Sampai's printed lizard folk. I wonder if he actually printed that. I need to find out. The 3D model was really good. I think that's a clock. So it rings twice on the hour every hour. Just goes and goes. All right. So, didn't know that. Who wrote the Dragonlance game then? She was the author of the books as well, right? Okay, cool. Okay, so that makes more sense. Gotcha. Was that before or after Greyhawk? Right. I thought those were more in tandem. Oh, well. Yeah. That could be why I got so confused, because I thought that... I'm pretty sure they've made Dragonlance settings for D&D, which made me think that it was a book first and then D&D adopted some of it. But if it was already a thing, who knew? I'm going to have to look into that. Okay, we're going to go here. Get a big old chunky necklace. What? Are you talking about demon spawn minotaurs? Where's that from? Oh. Gotcha. Let's do this. Okay. This hammer looks real flimsy. I'm gonna give it a little more girth. I think I might take a 5-minute break here and go light a fire. I will be right back. I'm gonna run a commercial because I can. Be right back, everybody. Okie dokie. Are we back? Did it work? I got a pretty good setup for starting fires. Oh boy. I've lost all of my buttons here. Yeah. No, I have a yep, yeah. I use a blowtorch. I remember when I was little, my whenever we'd go camping, my uncles would always give my cousins and I, like, okay, here's your stuff to start the campfire. You get 3 tries, and give us 3 matches, and then he would always have a like a blowtorch. He's like, you get 3 tries, and then I'm cold and I want my coffee. And I was like, okay. So I have very much adopted the light it on fire and let it go when it comes to starting a fireplace. But I do every now and again. I'll traditionally take my time. I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna go with that for my lizard folk. My lizard sketch. Let Drew keep working on the other one. Squirrel folk. Man, I have not drawn squirrels in a while. Used to draw them all the time. Oh, red squirrel. Red squirrels always, because they are the most powerful. Yep. Except since it's a person, I don't know if I'm going to do that. I might do this. Just make it a chunky squirrel. Should I do Jimmy John's for lunch? hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag sponsorship? I don't know. I'm going to make this squirrel folk a bellhop for some reason. Let's see. What can we do over here? Maybe we'll give him like... Yeah, there we go. Luke, Druid. I think Druid's finished. Let's take a look. Oh, it's pretty good. I think it's pretty fancy. No response from Luke, but I think it's good, Druid. There we go. Looks amazing. Looks amazing, so. I'm just drawing some chunkers today. Oh man, that would have been really funny. What if the Robin Hood movie, the Disney Robin Hood movie, instead of a fox, he'd been a squirrel? That would have been pretty great. Oh, those are way better, Corvus. Those are way better. We're gonna... What type of flying squirrel is that? My instant response is like, to make them sound really stupid. I don't know why. I was gonna say like the window kind that fly into your windows. Dunk. I love my squirrel deck for Magic the Gathering. It's one of the first decks that actually like sat down and decided like I'm going to try to make this deck good. It's pretty good. Pretty good. It's not great, but, you know, there's only so many squirrels. And we'll give him a big long neck. And then a person body. So toxic. All right. There's no reason for me to be a jerk to squirrels. I love squirrels. What is the one on the bottom looks really, really dumpy though. Just like I like the one on the top. It's got those big flappy arms. I want to make this squirrel look less grumpy. I think his eyebrows are just too... There we go. Don't be... Just because... Damn it, Drew. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. That's fair, I guess. Still. Gotcha. A pigeon did that to me, though. What? Flew into your window or made a Mormon joke? I'm not sure which is. I'm not okay with it. I am okay with it, but I'm not okay with it. Maybe that's it. Yeah. Come on, this is an all-inclusive live stream. There's no reason to be like that. But I did also I grew up around a lot of Mormons, so I've heard quite a few of the tropes. Okay, how can I make this little fuzzball? I want to make him a bard somehow. He needs a loot. That's what he needs. It's a little loot. A banjo, if you will. I'm gonna give him a banjo. So I feel like if you had a squirrel, I think this is this a flying squirrel? What's the difference between a squirrel and a chipmunk? Like, I know the difference, but like, what really is the difference, you know? Like, what's the actual difference? Look at that squirrel with a short tail. Yeah. Idaho has a ton of... I guess chipmunks kind of live in the ground sometimes. Maybe those are rock chucks. They're all very similar. Banjos have 4 strings? 5 strings. Do banjos have all 6 strings? Pigeon ran into your window, yeah. Yeah. Welcome back. Uh-oh. Doodly doo 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 doo. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I didn't realize you streamed sometimes. So yeah, do what you want. Do what you want. Do what you love. All right, I'm gonna do it. I've decided. He's got overalls. Yep, Warforged Boxer is the last one. 5 strings. Okay, I was right. I think there's 4 strings and then a drone string, or is it just the higher tone string? I can't remember how. I used to go to Guitar Center when I was very young, and Guitar Center existed, and I would just play the banjo every now and again, just fiddle around with it. Does Guitar Center still exist? I've just assumed, because I don't drive anywhere anymore, that all box stores have closed. All right. Nope. Dalcor, I know where the mall is, and the ramen shop in the mall. That's it. Everything else I Google. Everything else I Google. Every other place I Google. Yeah. It's a really good. Remember that time that we were going to go hang out with our friend, and we decided to meet at the Five Guys, and we went to different Five Guys? Yeah, that happened. Anyways, maybe we didn't tell you, but that's why we were late. Because we all went to the wrong one. Yeah. Yep. No, we just went to the wrong one. That was like 2 years ago. Yeah. That was a while. It's been a while. I do like me some Five Guys burgers and fries. I say as I can't eat it anymore. I had some air fried tater tots and nacho. Yeah, I opened it up, ripped it apart, and just started making tater tots. It was so fast. So fast. I don't make my own tater tots because it's a process and it's a pain in the butt. And if you buy the Orida ones, they're like $2. So, yeah, I think I was really spoiled living in Idaho for so long because like potatoes there are good. Potatoes here not so great. You gotta buy the Idaho potatoes and they're expensive now. It's frustrating. Anyways. All right, there's my little banjo squirrel folk with his overalls, which I think is really funny. They look so derpy. What? Okay. That's it. I think that's everything, isn't it? Do we have any more? What else do we want to draw? I guess I can draw the Warforged too. I don't know, your porcelain Warforged is pretty good. It's not really a good boxer stance. I'm thinking about buying some clay so I can just craft a mask out of it. But I don't know if I want to use like the weird bake at home Sculpey stuff. I mean, like that terracotta clay is pretty nice. Get it pretty cheap. Freaking adorable. Maybe I can start with that and then go from there. Like green stuff? No. How much time? Yeah. I'm gonna need something longer than that. I was also thinking maybe about just like getting a log and just sculpting one out of wood. Thought that could be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. Yep. The Jorah's mask would be pretty good. The current wooden masks I have were made out of 2x4s or 1x4s. Then I like glued them curved and then carved them. I'm thinking I might start with just like a big chunk of wood. Corvus posted squirrel pics and then his computer died. That's pretty part of the course, I think. I think that's how that works. Okay, we're gonna go big metal plates on the head since it's a boxer. Go like real Ultron here. Do some big old shoulder pad. Welcome, welcome. Let's get some big old fists. Big old meaty fists. Gotcha. Mending is a great spell. I always yep. I mean, your sword breaks in half. You use the mending spell to fix it. That's a great spell. That's a great spell. I have no qualms with it. Mending. You need super glue in D&D? Mending spell. Like, no. Yes, and here's why. The spell with the only if you're dead. Yep. And I completely agree with that because that's the purpose of the mending spell. It's the same thing with constructs, which is why I hate that Warforged are living creatures. Because the mending spell should be a very like robust healing spell for constructs. And so, like, constructs, undead constructs, all of those should be affected by the mending spell. Because at some point, if you're like, well, I can just kill myself and then use the mending spell and then revive myself, it's like you just spent 500 gold to, get your health back. Great. Also, you died. Well, okay. So that's fair. You can do that. I would allow that too. Like if in D&D your Warforged gets like a big scratch across something, the mending spell could easily repair that because a blacksmith could easily repair that, right? You're basically using magic to do things that are feasible. Much like, oh, we can mend a corpse. Like you can do that with thread. Like, meh. So it's the issue I have with people not using mending on constructs and stuff is because I allow that only if healing spells don't heal you. So like undead, I don't think should be able to be healed with positive or radiant energy. I don't think. I think undead should take damage from that, just like you take necrotic damage. Necrotic damage should heal undead. Like all of those different things are fun ways to look at the game that have worked in the past and in other media, but 5th edition decided to remove for simplicity's sake. So 5th edition mending doesn't have as much clout, but it's just like prestidigitation. I mean, like it's supposed to be options, right? The value is in what you can do with it, because like. There's no mechanic in D&D right currently to break your weapon. Like there's no durability. So yeah, mending isn't necessary unless you flavorfully have a weapon break. Yeah. Yep. That was the other thing I was going to say. Is the reason I don't have a problem with you using mending on a corpse is because there's already spells that exist to do that. Like, Kevin the Necromancer uses gentle repose all the time. It's like, I'm going to use this body later. Bloop! Put it in the bag. It's like, all right. Revivify him. Because there's gentle repose, and then there's preserve corpse. I think is the Pathfinder equivalency. There's restore corpse, and what? Decompose corpse. Yeah, it's an auto stabilize. Yep. So there's also the opposite of making an undead creature look alive. All those exist. They're super fun. If you ever play a necromancer campaign or like an undead campaign, definitely worth their weight in gold. I always argue that like if you're an undead creature and you try to sell something to a shopkeep, the normal shopkeep will probably lose their shit. So finding ways around that is super important, and that's why those spells exist. And I think they're pretty great. By your definition, skeletons don't exist. And what it says, it doesn't say it melds things together. It says the spell repairs a single break or tear in an object you touch. So you wouldn't be able to like mending someone else's arm to something. Does that make sense? A leaking water skin. As long as the break or tear is no longer than a foot in any dimension, you can mend it, leaving no trace of the form. The spell physically repairs a magic item or construct, but the spell can't restore magic as such to the object. So, yeah. You keep saying meld. Are you talking about mending? Or are you talking about... Okay. Yeah, all the time. I mean, yeah, it's a great spell. I really... I almost spit out my water, Dalgor. That's totally fair. I would absolutely allow that. If someone got petrified and you needed to put them in a bag, you break all their limbs off and then mend them back together before you revivify. I would totally say that they would wake up with scars. But absolutely, I would allow that. I would absolutely allow that in my game. Yeah. I mean, in that same situation, I would totally be fine with someone like, yeah, just cementing the arms back on with adverse effects. I think mending's a great spell. I really like mending. I like to give like wands of mending to my party, low-level parties, because it's not powerful. It's not super powerful, but it is highly useful. Because really, I mean, you could also give somebody, like I said, a bottle of super glue to a D&D party. They're going to find weird ways to use it. And it... How many times has Sierra spoofed my hat into a different color just out of spite? Yeah. Like, not a spiteful act. All right. That's Yep. Yep. And so to me, magical weapons don't degrade. So here's the... I'm gonna stop and start this over in the correct way. Magical weapons don't break is not correct. 5e is a little different because all of the other iterations of D&D have had, in some form or another, hardness and hit points. So like a sword has hit points based on the material it's made out of, and then it's, instead of having an armor class, they have hardness. So much damage has to go through a weapon or armor before it even starts taking damage every time it is hit. And that's why adamantine is so good, because it just bypasses hardness. And if you have like an adamantine pickaxe, and I hope Jonas isn't here because I gave him one and he didn't notice, if you decide, hey, I'm going to attack their shield, you pretty much hit. You pretty much just smash their shield with a pickaxe, and it starts taking damage. Magical weapons in previous editions, like Pathfinder, have double. They have double hardness, double hit points. So that makes them nigh indestructible, because not too many things can do more than 20 damage in hardness before even starting to take hit points to the weapon. And so what you can do is, if you use those rules, when something takes damage, like a sword, loses hit points, the only way to fix it is with a mending spell or make whole. Make whole is basically restore so many hit points to an object or creature, construct. Not creature, sorry, object or construct. So that's the old system. That's the complicated system, because then you're keeping tracks of hit points for all of your weapons and all of your stuff. Magical weapons don't degrade, so you will find a magical sword that can be an eon old, and it will still be as sharp as the day it was found, assuming no one attacked it. That's why people think that magical weapons are unbreakable, because they don't decay, they don't degrade. But things like Sunder Weapon, which is a feat and an ability you could take in Pathfinder in 3.5, was specifically designed to break them, and they can be broken. They're just really hard to break. Magical weapons moving forward even have their own saves. So like if you want to try to just destroy it with magic, you have to make the sword gets to make a save to see whether or not it explodes when it's thrown into fire. And that's why Tarrasques, being, their stomachs can destroy anything, is something that is written in a book somewhere, I think we found. Means that, this sword that I personally thought was indestructible can be destroyed by this Tarrasque stomach. And it's like, yep. Because really what the Tarrasque stomach is doing is like 100,000 damage a turn. And like no amount of hardness or hit points, can survive that. So that's where that comes from. Well, but that's different. Your ring of elemental fire protects all of your gear because you're wearing it. Now, if you just fell into a pit of lava, the DM that loves to torture themselves would roll saving throws for all of your gear and then start taking damage to it. But, like I said, most swords, a magical sword should have a hardness of 20, I think, as the base, if it's made out of just regular steel. So you have to take more than 20 points of fire damage every round to start degrading the weapon. And even if it has 45 hit points, because it's a steel magical sword, I'm guessing, it probably won't. But if you have a wooden sword and you throw it in the fire with a hardness of 2 and it takes 20 points of fire damage, guess what? It just burned and it's gone. Like, woof, goes away. So people have thought about that. People built a system for that kind of tracking. Nobody that I know, except for Kevin the Necromancer, because he loves to torture himself, does that. And sometimes with, Jump Rope really loved the Lucerne hammer for a long time as one of her favorite weapons. That has an ability to sunder. Every time you attack something, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try to sunder their armor. And so it's like, okay, I'm gonna roll it, and you did that damage, okay, all right. And now I'm keeping track of every individual creature's armor's hit points. And then when the armor breaks, it's like, okay, their armor breaks and they lose 3 hit points. Or 3 AC. That's a totally viable thing to do. Totally viable. A lot of people don't do it. It's a lot of math. So. Oh, yeah. It's way complicated. But at the same time, like, the way I always look at it is, if someone, say, a Dragon Disciple has a Lucerne hammer that can sunder people's armor, the other people get to sunder your armor too. And that's the other reason that a lot of people don't play those rules, because it's fun when you're the one smashing people's weapons, but it's like, oh, that giant ogre just snapped your magical sword in half. Good luck finding someone to fix it. It's like, oh no. So like, it's not fun. Mm-hmm. Yep. It doesn't feel fun. So I talked to so Kevin. I just talked about Kevin started DMing for his own group, and so he's been coming to me and we talk about some stuff all the time. One of which was him adding a level of weapon degradation. So every time he's in a fight, he does a little bit of rolling to see, like, did your weapons take any damage during that fight, instead of rolling every single time, because he wanted to do that. I don't agree with it, but it works. He came up with a good system for it. So but the other thing he came up with was one of his bosses teleported away out of a fight, and it made his players really, really mad. And I'm like, that's pretty tropey. Like, that happens a lot. And he's like, I don't get why all these powerful wizards who would have access to teleport wouldn't always just teleport away. And I'm like, I know, you, with the teleport spell, teleport away all the time whenever you feel like you're out of, like, that's what people do. He's like, I know, it makes perfect sense. I'm like, right, but it's not fun. like that's the problem. It does make perfect sense. It makes perfect sense for every mage in the game that would have access to Fireball would use Fireball every single time. And it's like, that's the optimal thing, but it's not the fun thing. And so while, yes, all of these wizards could have access to Teleport, or could have access to Fireball, could have access to Finger of Death, is it right for your story? And that's when things become too tropey. And that's why I like to limit the amount of spells people can take when they play, because it's like, I don't want to say, like, no, you can't use that, but it's like, let's see if we can get you to a point where you can use that. Just because everybody is a high enough level wizard to use Teleport doesn't mean they would all know Teleport. And as a DM that's making the characters, it's like, well, why wouldn't I teach them that? It's like, why would they or would they not know it? That's the question. If it makes sense for your wizard to know Teleport, give it to him. But if you have a party of, like, a whole bunch of melee people that have no way of canceling a spell, it's going to feel really bad when they just, like, and then they vanish and then they're gone. It's like, awesome. No. It's... Yep. It's something that the DM has to deal with and something players have to deal with. And it's the same thing with healing. Like, if you have a party that has tons and tons of healing, the only way to make a fight last long enough to, like, really challenge your spell casting abilities is to add healing into the combat. And I really like using potions. Like, if versus healing spells. Like, if I put a cleric into the fight, my players know, like, that guy's probably going to heal, and it makes more sense. But if all of a sudden you're fighting, like, a big demon, and he's like, oh, I'm going to use this spell that I have. It's like, what? Why do you have that spell? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Versus, like, what's the word I'm looking for? A crime boss who has a stash of potions hidden somewhere in his office. And if he gets hurt, he's going to run over there and start drinking them, right? Like, I don't have a problem with people finding potions or using potions in combat. And something I like to look at is if they have the time to drink a potion, that's a potion they're going to use, and then the adventuring party doesn't get it, right? Like, keep track of that, because if you kill an NPC and they didn't have a chance to use that potion, you guys gained a potion. And so, like, that's how I balance it out in my playthroughs, is that they either need to be aware that they can do it beforehand, or it is I always hate it when someone dies through a long fight that, like, they lost, and they're like, oh, you find 15 potions on their body. It's like, why didn't they use any of those? Like, it has to make sense. And that's, I feel like, once again, if you are not metagaming, but if you are, like, min-maxing and your DM is min-maxing, it starts feeling really bad, because things stop making sense, and it is just a power struggle of, like, who can mash the most dice together in a round. Metagaming. But that's also, I mean, yeah, that's planning. That's one of the reasons, like, wizards have so many spell slots, is because they're supposed to be good at planning. Like, everyone's just like, I take Fireball 12 times. And it's like, no, just like they got rid of prepared spell casting, didn't they? I think the wizards don't have to prepare exactly which spells they're casting. Yeah, use their spell slot. Right. So that's why with 5th edition, I remember one of the first things I was like when I was reading this stuff, I'm like, everybody is a sorcerer now. What the hell happened? Because wizards used to have to claim the spell slots. Like, I'm going to take Fireball 3 times, then I'm going to take Summon Familiar, and I'm going to take these other 4 spells. And that's why wizards had so many spell slots, because they were supposed to grab a whole bunch of utility spells. Yeah. I miss it. I miss that. But it also, I understand it, and it flows a lot better now that everybody is a sorcerer. I think the spell slot system is pretty good. No. Nope. If that's what your character would do, because, like, I hate it when people have magic. Bah! Like, that's legit. That's completely legit. There's no reason not to cast Dispel Magic. I think anybody of high level class and that is knowing that they're going to be fighting wizards and such should always have Dispel Magic. It's such a good spell, and it makes total sense to me. I kind of wish that Dispel Magic was a class feature for wizards, or sorcerers. I'm kind of on the fence about which of those would have it. But just, yeah, being able to just like stop and rip magic away from an area or an item is something that I think could even be its own class. Like, it could just be a specific subclass for wizard. I think would be pretty cool. We've talked about the Spell Thief a little bit. That might be something with that, but yeah, exactly. That would be really cool. Mage Hunter Paladin would be really, really cool. You see, yeah, with the Warlock too, like just devouring magic, just like you suck all the magic out of a zone for a second would be a pretty cool patron feat. But I also like the Mage Hunter Paladin. That's really cool. What is the Magician's Judge weapon that Yasha has? Oh, that is such a good designed weapon. I love that. It's just thematically like, yes. That is designed well. I dig it. Well, it is 12 o'clock. We drew some stuff. I'm pretty happy with that, Warforged. I totally ditched out of the YouTube chat because I was yelling. I'm so sorry, everybody. What's the point of having dual-wielding weapons if you can only use one per action? Or am I stupid? Luke, you're not stupid. It's a little weird. I think the dual-wielding functionality in D&D got kind of overlooked because part of the problem that I see is with the way dual wielding used to work. Pathfinder 3.5 again is you took negatives. If you wanted to attack twice in a round, you took, I think, -8, -5, -8, and then when you took Yeah. So, and then when you took the feat, what it is, their first attack was at a -4, and then your second attack was at a -8. And then if you took the feat, that went down. So all of a sudden now, when you're attacking with 2 weapons, it's a -2 and a -4. D&D's like, we don't want any of that stuff. And they just kind of stalled out. I think the way it's supposed to work is basically if you want to attack with a light weapon as your secondary action, like monks can do that as their bonus action. I think rogues should be able to do that with their bonus action. Any light weapon you should be able to make a secondary attack with, but like at disadvantage, I guess. So the feat basically should let you do the action without penalty because you're taking a feat. Like, that's the way I look at it. So yeah, I always homebrew it. I always homebrew it that way. If you want to do dual wielding and you take the feat, you basically can attack with both weapons, but the second weapon has to be a light weapon at first, or you'd use your bonus action if it's a regular sized weapon. That's how I always rule it out. That's exactly what I was arguing, is that the fighter gets it. The fighter gets it. You're saying with finesse weapons. The thing I don't like about that, because like that's basically getting to be like, you know, a rapier fighter. I really like the idea of like having 2 axes in your hand. So I like 2 big axes. So like if a barbarian can use those, I would almost make it that you can have a regular sized weapon and then your offhand is either a light weapon, finesse weapon, or, you know, small weapon. And then if you want to make it bigger, that's another feat. Like, you know, dual wielding. What's it? Titan grip, Titan mauler. That used to be a Pathfinder thing where you could dual wield 2 2 things. Yeah, 2 hammers. The other thing with D&D that they did make better is that you can have like 5 weapons on you, and if you have multiple attacks in a turn, they don't stipulate which weapon you have to use. You can literally just, like, I throw this axe and I have another attack, so I throw the other axe I have. And I have another attack, so I throw the other axe I have. It's like, well, didn't you have to draw that weapon? It's like, nope, don't worry about it. So you can choose to attack with any weapon that you have equipped. And that's as far as it goes. And so it's between you and your DM about like, what do you actually have? Twin weapon fighting? Okay. Right. It is any one-handed? Okay. Yeah. So the feat. Oh, that's it? It just gives you a bonus to AC? Or do you get to make an attack with the bonus action? It's basically okay, so the feat is allowing you to basically use your weapon as a shield, is what that's doing. Compensating for the shield. So, yeah, I think what a lot of people think of is when I have 2 weapons, I should be able to attack twice with 1 action. And it's the same thing, like, I have 3 arms, why don't I get 3 attacks? And it's like, maybe you should. I mean, like, that's kind of what the multi-attack feat is for, but it's a monster feat. I think if you're taking feats to compensate for it, it's totally fine. That's always been my argument. So if you want to take, because you don't have the negatives anymore, monks can make, you know, their bonus attack with unarmed strikes or monk weapons, I think, for their bonus attack or their bonus action. I don't see why you couldn't take a feat to attack with a second thing. And maybe, like I said, maybe it needs to be a disadvantage if you find it's too powerful. But that's just, it's homebrew. You know, figure it out. It's totally fine. I don't see why people can't do that. Yeah. The other thing about that is, right, which is why I don't think it's just like, well, I have 2 axes, I should get 2 attacks. It's like they're going to be less effective, which would be the negatives. Like that's how it should work. D&D doesn't want to complicate the game. So another thing you could do is just say, oh, you want 2 attacks? Great, they're both a disadvantage. Go for it. And that would work really well for like a scrapper who's not worried about like traditional combat. So it's like, yeah, I'll always attack at disadvantage because I'm just going to like flurry out there and just swing wildly. It's like, that's great. And I think that's kind of what the reckless barbarian is supposed to be doing. But once again, they've, you know, truncated it down to one weapon. It's like, no, give him 2 weapons. That would be awesome. Just rah, 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 rah. Yeah, barbarian with 2 hammers. Super cool. Super cool idea, Luke. Yeah, just put a little spike on your tail. Yeah. And like I said, like if you want to put a tail weapon on a creature with a tail, bonus action, sure. Like, it's fine. I just don't expect it to be as super effective as like, oh, I'm carrying a 2-handed sword with my tail. It's like, okay. Can you get a full powered swing with that 2-handed sword with your tail? Sure. It's like, all right. Like Luxodons with their noses should absolutely be able to club somebody with their trunk. Like, it pisses me off that that's not in there. Like, yep. Yeah, if you attack with a natural trunk weapon, you should definitely have the grab on there. I would be adding damage dice for that weapon into one attack work. Would just adding the weapons, like attacking at the same time, but with both weapons. See, that would be something else that I might think about doing. If you're taking a feat that like gives you proficiency with 2-weapon fighting, then it is just you're attacking once with both weapons, and then you could. That's a good way to think about it. Zemen think. You could just add that weapon die into it, but once again, you might have some balancing issues, and so it's just something to look at. Like, if you have a dagger, do you add the whole D4 to it? Do you just add, like, the average? So, like, maybe you just get a +2 to your weapon damage because your regular attack plus half the die. There's a few different ways to look at it. But I would be fine with that. I would be fine with doing it that way, because that's how skeletons work. When you have creatures with bite, claw, like bite and 2 claws, you don't attack with both claws. You attack once for the 2 claws as an attack. I think that's fair. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into the D&D weapon stuff because it's all kinds of weird. I got the hiccups now. That's really weird. I'm talking too much. What? I'm gonna stop you. What are you talking about? Like, oh, did the stream stop? Hold on. I think the stipulation for that is, so if you have a magical Vorpal dagger, you don't just use that same one over and over and over again. They want you to have 2 weapons. Does that make sense? Like, you're because you're supposed to have 2 weapons. I think that's the point. You're supposed to have the 2 weapons. I might need to see exactly what you're talking about, but because it doesn't sound quite right to me. I can't get back to the live stream. What's going on here? Come on, YouTube. There we go. No, we're fine. Okay. Yeah. What exactly are you talking about? Like, what is the feat you're talking about? Yes. So that is part of the way of how they're dealing with the 2-weapon fighting. That's what I'm saying. So, like, it's not that the dagger gives you 2 attacks because that's a speed enchantment. It's that if this dagger is in your offhand, you can attack with it as a bonus action. So I see what you're saying, that it sounds like, why can't I just attack twice with it? But it really is supposed to be if this is an offhand weapon, because I think there are stipulations for that. Considering the forces involved, Xanth, gotta go. Much love. Thank you, Xanth. Thank you very much for the Zamanthy Inc. I like the name. I just wish I knew exactly how to say it. So thank you for the tip. I do appreciate that. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks for hanging out. You can only dual wield light weapons. Long swords are not light weapons. Blah 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 blah. 2-weapon fighting. If both weapons have the light property. Dual wielder feat. If you have the consider the bonus ability modifier raw without the dual wielder feat, in order to use a bonus action attack with a second weapon, both weapons you're wielding need to have a light property. A longsword does not have a light property. Yeah. So basically, it's. I think what they're doing is they're just. They're trying to say specifically that if your dagger is your offhand weapon, you can use it a bonus action to attack with it. For the purposes of dual wielding. Is, I think, the stipulation that's missing. So it's dagger, attack twice. Doesn't make sense to me, but if you have two weapons, maybe? If you're equipped with two weapons with a light quality, you can spend your action to make an attack. Gain the ability to spend a bonus action to make a melee. The bonus action roll is resolved as normal. Does not add the ability modifier to the damage roll. Ah, okay. That is why. Fair enough, but maybe some homebrew Siege Warforge. That's a large size something. Damn spacebar. Oh, yeah, I totally missed that. I'm sorry. So the Warforge that had a ballista on its back, mounted for other players to use. How would you rule it? No, yeah, it's fine. I mean, so ballistas are, they're big things. If you're someone's spending their turn to reload a ballista, and then someone's spending a turn to fire it, that's fine. And then if the third person has to stand still so that the other person can fire it, that's 3 people giving up their turn for 2d12 damage. That's fine. I think that's totally legit. Not to mention the fact that you're going to have to buy ballista bolts, which are probably kind of expensive. Yeah. Now, if you want like a ballista mounted on your shoulder, Predator style, and you have a gnome riding around there and it doesn't affect you and you shoot it, that sounds a little cheese. And at that point, it sounds more like it would be the equivalent of, let's say, a gnome with a heavy crossbow that still has to spend its turn reloading it, and I would be fine with that. I would be fine with a gnome on your shoulder with a crossbow. So it really depends on what you're doing. Because, yeah, running around, it sounds pretty cool, yeah. Running around, like, willy-nilly, like, I get my 2 attacks, and also there's 3 people riding on my back firing a giant ballista. It's like, you're going to get super negatives for trying to do that. Not to mention, I would probably have the NPCs realize what's going on and try to put that down real fast. Real fast. So. Yeah. I mean, so I always look at strength as comparable, like, because it should be based on your size. Because, like, a gnome with 25 strength is not going to be as strong as a Luxodon with 25 strength. I just, like, it is mathematically because it's a game and it needs to have math. But as is, I don't play it that way. So if large creatures have more than 15 strength, which they mostly do, it's like, oh, you want to pick that person up? Fine, it's not an issue. Like, I don't even care. And you can really start digging into the numbers for that, because there are a lot of charts and stuff out there to actually look up, like, what is my carrying capacity? When do I start walking slower? When can I lift things? How much can I move? How tall? But I don't deal with a lot of it. I kind of flavor it. Well, you say that, but we don't all do that. No, we don't all do that. very much so. Like, bags of holding weigh 50 pounds, just to put that out there. They're heavy, but they can hold up to, I think I worked it out, like 6,000 pounds worth of gold in a bag of holding. I did the math once. That doesn't sound right, but I know I did the math once, and I was just like, guys, you have a lot of gold. You can't carry it. You need to buy a cart, find a bank, or you can't move right now. And I think that can be a lot of fun, but like worrying about like, oh, you pick up another sword, you can't move. It's like, that's not how that would work. The other thing I'll say, because I actually have, my players are usually pretty on the, how do you say it? They will say like, oh, I don't think we can pick up all of these weapons because I don't give them bags of holding too often. And so they will pick and choose what they want to bring. It's like, let's just take the gold, put it in the bag we have, and then we'll leave these things here. Or we'll come back for it in a week. We'll see if they're still here. And then I'll roll and see if anybody else found it. Okay, so I found your issues with the dagger. I looked it up. I looked at some things. The dagger itself doesn't give you that ability. The dagger is a light weapon, and the way 2 weapon fighting works in 5th edition is when you take an attack action and attack with a light weapon. So that's if you have a light weapon like a dagger that you are holding in one hand, you can use a bonus action to attack with a different light melee weapon you are holding in the other. So it's not that daggers get 2 attacks. It's that if you have 2 weapons, you can take a bonus action to use a light weapon in your offhand. To improve that ability. That's right. So the 2 weapon fighting is anybody with 2 light weapons can attack twice in a round. That's how that works. The stipulation is that they have to be light weapons, and you need 2 of them. Then taking the feats basically just make you better and have better opportunities to get bonus damage, get better. Why doesn't everybody do it? Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing. You might as well. If you don't have a shield, you might as well have 2 daggers. If you don't have anything to do with a bonus action, have a sword. A sword. What's it called? A sword. Is it just a sword dagger? What are the offhand like sparring things? I can't remember what they're called. Daggers, club, hand axes, light hammers, sickles, scimitars, short swords. Yeah, you can have 2 short swords. That could be fun. Dual wielder, you gain a +1 AC while you're doing that. Yeah, so dual wielder basically gives you more defenses in lieu of a shield. And lets you use weapons that are not light, which is awesome. You can draw or stow a one-handed weapon as though it were normally able to draw and stow one. That's pretty good. Fighters basically just get those things for free. Yeah. Hold on a second. Fighter, dual wield, 5e. No light weapons. Barbarians. Is it barbarian feat? Come on, D&D Beyond, stop being a dick. Fighting styles. When you engage in 2-weapon fighting, you can add your ability modifier to the damage on the second attack. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that would be a good way to do it. Yeah, 2 battle axes. Yep, that's it. Yep, it just basically gives you a bonus action to attack with a regular melee weapon if you do that way, which is fun. So I think it's great. What have you guys made for the zine so far? I don't want to double up on the same quest side bits. Well, we can talk about that, I think, a little bit after the stream. I'm going to go... I think we're about done. It's 12:30. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I had a lot of fun today. Did a lot of cool conversations. What's a good adventure book for beginners? The Mines of Phandelver is kind of boring, but it's a good... It's the starter quest, or the starter kit. It's pretty great. If you can get the starter kit, I would go with that. It has kind of everything you need. I really like Rise of the Runelords for Pathfinder. It's one of my favorites. It's got some cool goblin stuff in it. I would try to find small like one-shots or small introductions, just because the books are very complicated and they're pretty dense. Like there's a lot of stuff to go through. So, which is why I like the starter kit, because it's only a handful of pages. And then if you like it, you can get the Mines of Phandelver. Nope. Does the Tower of the Mad Mage have a lot of one-offs? I thought it was kind of like 30 floors. Okay. Well, there you go. Might want to check that out. Gold2 suggests the Tower of the Mad Mage, even though I've heard good and bad things about that. So, yeah. Have fun with those. I'm a big fan of kind of introducing people to D&D and Pathfinder with as little as possible. So, like, have a bar adventure. Just have your friends meet at a bar, have a bunch of goblins attack. see how they react to it, and then you can go from there. But other than that, yeah. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed the art today. I'm going to start DMing soon, so I'll have lots of questions. That's good. Look, let us know. Feel free to hang out in the Discord. We have a few channels there for that. Make sure you're staying happy and healthy out there. Keep your dice on the table, and we will catch you next time. Bye, everybody.